insufficient equation.
Monday action at 9 on Central, Boon. And this week, Ken comes to the aid of a poor, defenceless little old lady.
I'm being victimised.
Oh, dear. Well, come and tell us about it tomorrow.
You'll find yourself a new friend, Auntie.
Looks like it.
Push off, you. Don't do it!
She's going to do it. She's done it.
Where will it all end, I wonder?
Find out in Boon. Monday action at 9 on Central.
Just after the news, which is next, Michael Aspel has three very famous ladies in a special edition of Aspel and Female Company. But next, the news.
There's a lot more to Esso than putting quality petrol or diesel in your tank. There are quality gifts galore. Free with Tiger tokens. 1 token for every £6 of fuel you buy. New to the range, this sports bag, Sunday dish, Bush alarm clock radio, sports towel, Morphy Richards toaster, and Black & Decker strimmer. Pick up a new catalogue and keep collecting at the Esso collection sign.
I'm English, I don't understand.
I'll phone American Express.
Mrs. Kelly, I'll find you a solicitor who speaks English.
On every American Express card, there is one word we take very seriously: member. And membership opens up a whole world of privileges.
It's great. Don't deliver it, I'll ride it home.
Ah, that'll do nicely.
Sorry I was so late.
But we made an assured reservation.
American Express, of course. We've kept your rooms for you.
Athens. Tonight? Yeah, sure. Unpacked.
To find out more about the privileges of membership, apply today.
My name is Sharon Mohammed, and when I was at school, I didn't really take much notice of the YTS. I thought they were just using you, but I know from my experience it's given me a tremendous amount. There was a great trainee-supervisor relationship, and we all got on very well. I got a City and Guild in electronics. I'm working as a technician in a school now, and I'm very happy with what I'm doing. I'm not sure if it's just me, but it's been helpful to my career prospects. And it's helped me develop as a person. It teaches you a skill, and that's what you need to find a job. That's what it's all about. That's why I agreed to be an advertisement for YTS.
The best advertisement for YTS is the people who've done it.
It's her most revealing novel yet, and you can be the first to read it. Part 1 starts this Sunday. Rockstar by Jackie Collins, exclusively in the Sunday Express.
Buonanotte.
Waiter, could we have more coffee, please?
Si, signore.
Ciao.
Ciao, Franco.
Because we thought making filter coffee was sometimes a bit of an effort, we made Brooke Bond Red Mountain. Red Mountain is freeze-dried to taste fresh and richly roasted.
Signorina.
Lovely, thank you.
Waiter.
You want any beer?
Yes, please.
Of course.
And one last coffee, please.
Red Mountain. It's like ground coffee taste without the grind.
You know I'm waiting, just anticipating dreams I may never possess, but while I'm without them, Bounty, the taste of paradise.
Start collecting key vouchers from TV Times and you could win this villa in Spain. Read of the discoveries made by Jane Seymour about the Duchess of Windsor.
Gentlemen and Players, a new film series starting Sunday.
Buying a house. Savage's wife is stalling on completion.
Were you familiar with the property?
My husband is. I think it'll be divorce if I don't get it.
You wanted a loan? Refuse it. Say the directors won't authorize it. But they will. Alex, we're directors and we won't.
It's not cricket, it's war.
I hope I didn't distract you both. No. You were the big hitter. You were always difficult to get out. Still out.
Gentlemen and Players, Sunday at 7:45 on Central.
Just a quick look ahead to 10:55 in our film, which puts the American cop in a completely zany light. Police Academy is at 10:55. But before that, it's time for the news.
The news from ITV.
Arab hijackers torture, then shoot a hostage. But they release another, they say it's a goodwill gesture. An Aintree thriller as Rhyme and Reason sprints home. And Liverpool beat Forest, next stop Wimbledon at Wembley. Good evening. The hijackers of the Kuwaiti Jumbo have murdered one of their hostages. He was an off-duty Kuwaiti army officer. He was severely tortured, then shot in the head and thrown onto the tarmac of Larceny Airport in Cyprus. This evening, the hijackers made what they called a goodwill gesture. They released one man, a Kuwaiti businessman. At the same time, they repeated their demands for aircraft fuel and for the release of 17 convicted terrorists in jail in Kuwait. Our first report is from Robert Hall at ITN.
Dawn at Larnaca, the end of a night in which relations between hijackers and negotiators had grown steadily worse. For 12 hours, the gunman aboard the Kuwaiti jumbo jet had made repeated demands for fuel. At one point, the aircraft captain reported that the hijackers had begun beating up his passengers. But despite intense pressure, the negotiating teams, which included Kuwaiti and Cypriot government ministers, refused to comply with the demands. From the hijackers, signs that time was running out.
Please advise the government, the Cyprus government and the Kuwaiti government that after at 10 o'clock, if the car reservoir is not full, 100% full, then we have no choice but to kill one passenger 10 o'clock sharp.
Back at the airport buildings, the worst was now expected. An ambulance stood beside the negotiating teams, a doctor preparing for the grim task ahead. 15 minutes after the last deadline expired, the message everyone hoped would never come.
We confirm that we have executed our threat. We have accomplished our threat by executing one Kuwaitian working in the Kuwait security. We need fuel immediately, otherwise you will receive identical presents.
Moments later, the body of a man was dropped head first from the plane's main door. With police and troops now on full alert, the negotiators watched anxiously as a medical team moved in. After an examination, the Kuwaitis revealed that the man who died was one of 3 army officers returning from leave. The doctor on the scene told officials that the victim had been shot 3 times in the head. Later medical tests revealed other injuries, suggesting that the officer had been severely tortured, perhaps while the aircraft was still on the ground in Iran. Late this afternoon, fresh contact, initially by radio and then face-to-face. A representative of the Palestine Liberation Organization led a small group to speak to the gunman through the plane's open door. For the first time in more than 24 hours, it seemed that some progress could now be made.
This evening, senior PLO man Metz Abed and his team of negotiators left the hijacked 747, exchanging handshakes and waves with the gunman. The first sign that the hijackers were preparing to make more concessions. A short time later, as darkness fell, the gunman allowed the negotiators to escort one of the Kuwaiti hostages off the plane. They said the male hostage was sick. As he was led into the terminal building, the man was visibly distressed. A short time later, he was carried on a stretcher to a waiting ambulance. His release explained by the hijackers in a radio message.
We released one of our Kuwaitian hostages as a goodwill intention towards Cyprus government.
But the gunmen have told the negotiators the release of one man should not be seen as a sign of weakness, and they've reiterated their demand for the release of 17 terrorists held in Kuwaiti jails.
And are you going to give them the fuel now that they've released the one man?
We told them very clearly several times that we want all the hostages to be released and then they get fuel.
The Cypriot government says the hijackers can fly to freedom if they release the rest of their prisoners. Paul Davis, ITN, Larnaca.
If the negotiations in Larnaca fail, the Cyprus government may try to end the hijack by force. For that, they could turn to Britain for help.
From the moment the Kuwaiti jet was hijacked last Tuesday with Britons on board, British government contingency plans were set in motion. It's possible an SAS anti-hijack team was sent rapidly to Cyprus, where Britain has military bases, to be in the Middle East if needed. The Foreign Office has confirmed it's been in close touch with Cyprus and Kuwait. An assault team would need to know what was happening inside the plane. Lasers and other long-range listening devices in nearby buildings could be used to monitor the hijackers' conversations and the location of the hostages. Mounting an armed rescue bid would be extremely difficult. In past attempts that have been successful, as in Geneva last year, troops entered the hijacked plane through an open door, posing as airport workers. Blasting a way into the plane with explosives is extremely risky. The Egyptians used the technique at Malta in 1985, but killed 59 people, most of them hostages. The hijackers at Larnaca seem highly organised and unlikely to make the mistakes that would allow an easy hostage rescue.
Well, from what we understand, the same group of hijackers could have been responsible for other incidents. They were probably involved in the 1984 hijacking to Tehran of the Kuwaiti airliner, probably also involved in the TWA hijacking to Beirut in 1985. We've heard reports that they are, for instance, taking shifts in looking after the hijacked victims on board the plane. They've tied up, so we understand, the stronger-looking members of the hostages. So they've obviously been very well trained in all this. And if they have the experience as well, this is going to make it very difficult if security forces at some stage decide to storm the plane.
If the SAS were to attempt to rescue, it would almost certainly be at night and only after it became clear more hostages were about to be executed. If there were no open doorways, they'd probably have to climb onto the plane's roof and blast their way in with explosives. Whatever the risks of military action, the Cypriots may have little other option. The hijackers are quite ruthless, as one of the released British hostages explained.
One always had the feeling that if they were told to kill us, they would kill us. They would regret doing it, but they would do it without thinking.
Iran has again offered to help free Terry Waite, but only if Britain helps to release 4 Iranians who are also missing in Lebanon. The Iranian war spokesman Kamal Karachi said his government would use its influence to get Terry Waite freed if Britain used its influence on behalf of the Iranian hostages. It's the second time Iran has called on the government to cooperate with them. A girl of 12 appeared before a juvenile court today charged with the murder of 13-year-old Carol Baldwin, who was stabbed to death in a Northampton park 2 weeks ago. Carol was listening to her personal stereo when she was attacked. She died from a single stab wound in the back. A youth of 17 has already been charged with her murder. Police are still questioning another girl aged 14. The transport workers' leader, Mr. Ron Todd, says his union was right to oppose Ford's terms for a new plant in Dundee. The row over single union deals led to Ford cancelling the project. Mr. Todd was speaking in Dundee, where demonstrators gave him a mixed reception. Local politicians told him they were angry at the loss of the jobs. But Dundee's Lord Provost says it's now time to concentrate on the future. Mr. David Steele has told a Belfast conference that Britain's security forces must be more open to democratic scrutiny and control. He attacked Mrs. Thatcher for criticising Amnesty International's inquiry into the deaths of 3 IRA members in Gibraltar. And he warned that the government is displaying a creeping but strident authoritarianism, which reaches extraordinary lengths.
I'm used to hearing politicians in other parts of the world assert that Amnesty International is a splendid organisation, but has no right to interfere in their particular country. And I never thought that a British Prime Minister would suggest the same. If the rule of law was being followed, we have nothing to fear from any such inquiries by them. And if it was not, then it is time we asked who is authorising operations above and beyond the law.
Now, with the highlights of today's busy sporting programme, here's Mark Austin.
In one of the most dramatic finishes for years, Ryman Reason won the Grand National at Aintree. At the last fence he looked well beaten, but then fought back in a thrilling final furlong. And earlier the horse almost parted company with jockey Brendan Powell at the notorious Beecher's Brooke. Ryman Reason won at 10-1, 4 lengths clear of Durham Edition, 20-1. Third was the Irish-trained Mononor at 33-1. And fourth, the winner 2 years ago, West Tip, at 11-1.
They came, as always, in their thousands to Aintree. Red Rum, the most famous winner of them all, came to see himself immortalised in bronze and unveiled by the Princess Royal. As the 23-year-old 3 times winner left, he looked as though he wanted to join in the race. Headed by G. Armitage, 3 women were bidding to become only the second lady ever to complete the course. At Beecher's first time round, Ryman Reason on the left made the most incredible recovery as he all but came to grief. By halfway, G. Armitage was the first woman to lead the National. But 3 from home, G, right at the back, pulled up and Ryman Reason hit the front. At the second last, Durham Edition dramatically overtook, but in the final furlong, Ryman Reason and Brendan Powell bravely fought back to take the glory. The winning owner, who'd been afraid to run the horse over the Aintree fences, happily led them in, and the jockey told of the near disaster at Beecher's.
He did literally fall, but he didn't actually turn over, and he's done well. He came out underneath me, and he took his time. He got jumping again, and if anything, I've taken it up too soon, because poor Tom Morgan fell in front of me.
But you were last at the time, weren't you?
I was last at one stage, yeah. But you never worry on him, you know. He's got a touch of class, and he came through, and I've gone wide on him, but he likes being on his own, and he does his own thing.
G. Armitage limped away to hospital, having badly strained her back.
Lying in second place. The horse is brilliant.
So how are you feeling now?
Well, I'm a bit sore, but in the race I just couldn't move anymore, and it was heartbreaking because the horse deserved to get around. He'd have been placed.
And the bookies, for once, had to pay up on a short-price winner. Giles Smith, ITN Sport, Aintree.
It's Liverpool versus Wimbledon in the FA Cup final. For mighty Liverpool, the chance of a second double. For Wimbledon, a Wembley debut. They beat Luton 2-1 at White Hart Lane, and at Hillsborough, Liverpool disposed of Nottingham Forest by the same margin.
It was the match which should have been the final, and Forest continued where they'd left off last Saturday. Crosby, the little winger, brought down to earth by Ablett, who got the first of 3 Liverpool bookings. It hardly deterred Crosby. The man from non-league Grantham made Hansen look clumsy before beating everyone with a cross. But this was a different Liverpool to the one which caved in last week. After 20 minutes, Barnes moved through sweetly. Chettle could hardly avoid bringing him down. Last week, Aldridge hit a consolation penalty. Today's hit the same corner. From then on, Liverpool played an inspired match. Beardsley's ball control stretching Sutton. And in the second half, the sort of move which has taken Liverpool to the brink of their second double. Beardsley sending Barnes clear, the cross meeting Aldridge. It was his 25th of the season, the legend of Ian Rush finally passing into history. Brian Clough must have realised that his dream of Wembley was also fading, even though son Nigel kept the pressure on with a scrambled goal. By the end, though, Forest simply hadn't enough energy left to salvage the game. Wilson's weak effort the nearest they came. Aldridge was mobbed by the faithful and soon proved that he's a genuine working-class hero.
I think there might be a bottle of champagne waiting for you in the dressing room.
I don't like champagne. I'd rather have a pint of lager.
In the other semi-final at White Hart Lane, Mick Harford gave Luton the lead, but a John Fashanu penalty 6 minutes later put Wimbledon back in the match. Then with 10 minutes left, Dennis Wise scored the goal that put Wimbledon, just 11 years ago, a non-league outfit, through to Wembley. The only pity, it was watched by the lowest semi-final crowd since the war. Andy Walker got the goal that put Celtic into the Scottish Cup final. It came in the last minute, and their first came only 3 minutes from time. Dundee United and Aberdeen must replay after a goalless draw. Back in England, 17-year-old Alan Shearer scored a hat-trick on his debut for Southampton, and Tony Cascarino scored his 23rd goal of the season as Millwall took over top spot in Division 2. Lancashire Rugby Union county champions for the 12th time. In the Toshiba final at Twickenham, they beat Warwickshire 23 points to 18. Lancashire led 10-6 at half-time, and in the second half they extended their lead to 11 points with 2 tries in quick succession. The first by Jerry Ainscow, the second by Ian Aitchison. Warwickshire came back with a Lee Johnson try 4 minutes from the end. And a chance to snatch victory in the dying seconds of the game was missed when winger Stuart Hall just failed to reach the line. Golf and Britain's Sandy Lyle is tonight in a commanding position in the US Masters in Augusta. Overnight he had a 2-shot lead. Now after 10 holes of the third round he's 8 under par, 4 shots clear of his nearest rival. Lyle's aiming to become the first Briton to win the prestigious title.
The latest news from Cyprus. The plane is still on the tarmac and still has not been refueled. The hijackers have killed a hostage and freed another. Negotiations with the hijackers are continuing. Finally, 3 women are celebrating tonight after setting a test tube baby record. The 3 happy mums who'd all suffered years of infertility, between them gave birth to 5 babies at a London hospital.
The 5 babies were all born within hours of each other. Chelsea, the only girl, leads the unusual lineup. Their 3 mothers had to wait up to 8 years to have them. The successful pregnancies followed a relatively new treatment, the gift method, which only works if the woman is infertile and has unblocked fallopian tubes. The Carswells had almost given up hope of having a child, let alone 2. Charmaine still remembers her joy at being told she was pregnant.
I think that was almost more exciting than the delivery, is finding out that she had actually conceived and waiting all that time, 6 years. And the 9 months afterwards seemed to go quickly.
The other 2 mums, aged 42 and 43, say life really does begin after 40. Brenda Rowe, ITN, Central London.
That's it from all of us here at ITN. A very good night.
And let's take a look at the region's weather forecast. Following a fine evening and clear skies and light winds overnight, the temperature will fall to a minimum of about -3 degrees Celsius, that's 27 degrees Fahrenheit, giving a widespread slight to moderate air frost. Tomorrow will start misty in some places, but after the clearance of the early frost, a dry, bright day is in store with plenty of hazy sunshine. The temperature will reach a maximum of about 10 degrees Celsius, that's 50 degrees Fahrenheit, by the afternoon. A dry and clear evening will follow. Winds will be light to moderate from the west. The outlook for Monday and Tuesday, remaining dry and bright with possible overnight frost and mist.
Sunday at 9 on Central.
I want to be rich, good mum, an independent woman.
Every breath you take, the story of a mother obsessed by her son's illness.
Susie! This business is falling apart round our ears, and it's your fault!
Sunday at 9 on Central.
Well, coming up next is Michael Aspel and his very famous female company. That's coming up in a couple of minutes.
a taste of new PG lemon tea that makes you glad you made it. Done, Harry.
It should only be a couple of days.
Take care. Ciao.